I had a very, very hectic summer in a good way. Going to Israel, visiting my parents, my mother, my father passed so many years ago. Then I was in New York for Upshernish, for my grandchild. Then I was in Russia, just came back last Thursday. Yeah, I was in Moscow because there was a whole group of women that came from Iran. And they're actually people that do community work and they're teachers. So they have to go to a place that there's a lot of, Jewish places, a lot of Chabad houses, that they could actually have resources how to go back and teach. So, anyways, I was there like for 11, 12 days, no sleep, no nothing, but it was really very accomplishing. But, anyways, I don't want to take too much of your time. Before I start, you and the primary guys in charge, can you make a WhatsApp and add me to it? So, like, we send a text every week, whoever, does show up. So, please put your full names. It might even help you to find a good shidduch. As you know, last year I started going to the girls' school, Valley Torah. So some of the boys here asked me, Rabbi, could you? Yeah. So then you know what happens? The boys here asked me, Rabbi, could you find us a shidduch? So I went to them and I said, listen, the boys asked me to find a shidduch, but I refused. Honestly, did.
10 years ago, maybe. In the school, let's make it.
In times of the Gemara, they got married at 16. I'm just kidding. But you're not in times of the Gemara, thank God. But this was only a joke, guys. Usually, we talk about let's get serious with after all the jokes. I just need maybe max 7-8 minutes of your time, and then we have the pizza. In the same team, obviously. Awesome. Just let's look at it that we're in the same team. Usually we talk about Musa and other stuff. I'm going to go through a halacha a little bit. Rabbi Badi Yosef, one of his sons, I think is Yitzchak Yosef. He wrote the Yalkut Yosef many years ago, but now he revised it. Before, in the Moadim, this used to be one volume. Now he put 11 volumes. Starting from Elul, Rosh Hashana, Chanukah, Purim, fast days, like the whole year actually is like tens of thousands of, I don't know if 10, but thousands of pages. And he talks about Elul a little bit. One of the things that he writes, before I want to give an introduction, you guys know when you want to invest money, it's very important that you invest at a good time. People that bought properties in Los Angeles in the 70s, in the 80s, and they kept it, they're millionaires because they bought at a very good time. You guys, I don't think you were born, but in 1994, there was a huge earthquake in California, January 17th. So before that, real estate was very, very expensive. So people bought because they thought it was going to go up. And then in 1994, there was a big crash, especially when the earthquake came. It was like 6.8. It was really, really bad earthquake. And people started leaving California. So people bought land very expensive. But after the earthquake, there was a big crash. A lot of people lost their property. So in business, it's very important to invest at the right time. When it's cheap, you buy it, and then when it's expensive, you sell it, then you make money. If you buy at an expensive time, forget it, you're going to lose a lot of money. When it comes to Judaism, every moment is important. You can't say, I'm going to waste my time today, Rosh Hashana, I'm going to become a tzaddik. Because time is something that never comes back. It's not like money, that you can make it again. Nevertheless, there are some times that only affect that moment that you're working. There are certain times that affects the entire year. You all know about Rosh Hashana, right? It's a day that God decides what the entire year will be. So whatever you do, Rosh Hashana doesn't only affect you on Rosh Hashana. It's going to affect us the entire year. So Rabbi Yosef, he writes in that book that one day of the year that fixes the entire year is a day before Rosh Hashana, which is actually this Friday coming. It's one day that fixes the entire year, basically. I know it's a day that we don't have school. Thank God, no school. You're at home. You're going to get up a little bit late. You're going to chill a little bit, right? But that's exactly, where the challenge comes. If you're going to daven Ma'ariv properly Thursday night, you're going to daven Shachrit a little bit better, even though it's a vacation time. Sorry, I'm actually going to put. Why is this making trouble? Okay, I'm actually going to put some time to study Torah. It's as if you studied Torah the whole year. That's one of the things that he writes down. Definitely, we should utilize the last day of the year. This is one thing that he brings down. Also, the Arizal writes down, the Ari Kadosh, we have the 10 days between Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur, right? Why did God make it that way, 10 days? So one of the explanations that he gives, take off the 2 days of Rosh Hashana. Take off Yom Kippur, you have exactly 7 days. You have 7 days of the week between Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur, correct? Rosh Hashana finishes Sunday. Yom Kippur is next Monday. You got from Monday to the next Monday exactly all the 7 days. So the Arizal says that was one of the chassadim, one of the kindnesses of God. what he did, he actually gave us the 7 days of the week. Whatever you're going to do next Monday fixes all the Mondays of the last year. Whatever you do Tuesday fixes all the Tuesdays of the year before. So again, these are times that every time is important. But these are days. Could you imagine what you do next Monday affects 52, whatever, you have 52 Mondays in a year, or 50 Mondays in a year, fixes it, right? The way you keep Shabbos, the Shabbos Tshuva, it actually fixes all the Shabbosim, or all the Shabbatot for the Sfardim, or for somebody who doesn't know much, I don't know, Saturdays, any name you want to call it. You gotta know who your crowd is. What do we call it? Shabbos or Shabbat? Shabbat. Okay, awesome. That's it. We got it. Shabbat. Ashkenazim call it Shabbos. It's okay. No, Ashkenazim are Jews too. Just that's fine. Like you said, Kotel or the Koisel. Depends who you are. Whatever. Putting all the jokes aside. I davened Chabad all my life, so I said soft. Until I came to the Persian community, I had to change. It was a big change for me. But anyways, going back, you should definitely utilize these days. Utilize Friday. Rabbi Vaidya says over there, definitely if you can give charity to a poor person, that will have a great effect. And I want to finish up with 1 minute story. I'm sure all of you have heard the name of one of the big tzaddikim before the war. His name was Rab Chaim Ozer. You've heard of him? He was the father of Vilna. He had Shalosh Shuvas Achiezer. So he writes down when he was younger, he wrote a book, Shalosh Shuvas Achiezer. And he thought he's going to go straight to Gan Eden because he wrote that Chidushim. On Shas, it's a whole bunch of questions and answers. When he got older, he said, nah, I don't know if that book is going to take me to Gan Eden. What takes me to Gan Eden is the money that I collected for the poor people, for the widows, for the orphans. That's what guarantees me to go to Gan Eden. We all know that tzedakah actually takes away even the decree of death. Right? How much more so before the judgment of Rosh Hashana, where there is no judgment yet. If there is already a judgment of death, God forbid, tzedakah could annul that. So if it's before the judgment, for sure could accomplish a lot of great things. If you know any poor people, try to help them. If you give charity, there's organizations online. People, unfortunately, every day somebody dies with many, many children. It's really sad. You can go on the internet, even if you donate $5. Could you imagine that $5 is like you gave $5 every day of the year if you do that at Rosh Hashanah. If you're doing the 10 days of Aseret and Tshuva, it's like you fix the entire week. Thank you for listening, everybody. It was awesome.